Hello, Jimmy.
Oh, how you doing?
Fine, fine. I guess it's just you and, no, there's other people in here too. Yeah, okay.
All righty, are we all muted?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I don't, everybody. Okay, then. Well, somebody just lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Can someone do that, please? If everybody's unmuted. We call the meeting to order. Pledge allegiance to the flag. Anybody got a flag? Dr. Thomas, you're muted. Let's see.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, everybody's muted.
I could say the Pledge of Allegiance, but the mayor may not want me to. Would you like for me to say it, Mayor?
No.
Okay.
Do you want me to get a flag? I got a flag.
Yeah, get a flag. Yeah, get a
All
flag.
right, I'll be right back.
Oh. So yeah, this is going.
Alderman Thomas, I have a flag.
I beg your pardon?
I have a flag.
Oh, okay then. All right, Judy has a flag. So let us do this right quick and get our meeting going. All righty, let's go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God,
indivisible,
liberty, indivisible, with liberty
and justice for all.
All right, thank you. I didn't hear anybody else. Everybody else is muted. I don't know what the heck is going on. Okay, we're going to now give you our mistress of ceremony, who will take us through our little schedule agenda for tonight. And just let me say right away that some of the people that are on the program will not be here. I talked to Attorney Wesley Bell today. He's out of town. I didn't speak with anyone else. So, but we'll see what guests that we will have on tonight. It is not their fault because our city clerk retired Monday. And so we didn't have our regular staff in place to do the things that we normally do. So just wanted you to know that. All right, Attorney Coleman.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, everyone. We're very pleased to have so many people join us this evening. You know, since early colonial times, town hall meetings have served as a means of communicating with the public. Town hall meetings, therefore, have always played a vital role in our society. A town hall meeting is one of the most effective ways for local governments to work directly on issues in their community. They enable public officials to meet with their constituents and hear them on topics of interest and to disseminate important information to the community. Accordingly, we welcome and encourage you to fully participate in the discourse today, and we thank you all in advance for your active participation and input. We'll start our meeting with an introduction of our officials. We'll begin with Mayor Tommy Pearson Sr., who has served as the mayor of Bell Fountain Neighbors since April of 2019. We'll go next.
All right.
to-
Thank you. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Uh,
Go ahead.
We'll go next. I'm going to introduce the board now, Mayor.
All right.
We'll start with Ward 1. And representing Ward 1, we have Alderwoman Barbara West and Alderwoman Dinah Tapman. Ward 2, representing Ward 2, we have Alderwoman Teresa Reed and Alderman James Carroll. Ward 3, representing Ward 3, we have Alderman James Thomas and Alderman Melvin Perry. And Ward 4, representing Ward 4, we have Alderwoman Elise Dales and Alderwoman Dr. Miranda Avant Elliott. Allow me also to introduce our department heads to you as well. We have the head of the police department, Chief Jeremy Eiler. The head of the building department, Joe Rabin. The head of the recreation department, Jimmy Korinchik. And the head of the street department, Jeff Ross. And I also have the privilege of introducing to you our boards and commissions. And we'll begin with the Image and Beautification Commission. Chairing that commission is Jenny Stewart. The Planning and Zoning Commission, chaired by Patrick Barrett. The Youth Commission, chaired by Alicia Smith. And we also have a Parks and Recreation Board, a Public Safety Commission, and a Board of Adjustment and Human Relations Commission. We will now then
You muted yourself, Attorney Coleman.
thank you. I didn't even realize that. We'll begin our kickoff with a State of the City report from Mayor Pearson. Mayor Pearson?
You muted, Mayor Pearson.
You're muted.
Okay, then. All right. Thank you. It is good to have so many of our residents on tonight, and we appreciate you coming. Let me give you a short report. This year, we continue to be faced with a pandemic that seems not to want to go away. I believe we can vaccinate ourselves out of this pandemic and free ourselves and move forward where we can go back to our face-to-face board meetings. As you know, there's $278 million worth of construction on 270 here in North County. The other day, a couple of weeks ago, we had the ribbon cutting on the bridge that connects Purcell and Dunn Road. Makes it easier to get to the hospital from that direction. I also believe that it is the gateway to a new downtown Fountain Neighbors. And we'll talk more about that as things materialize. The rec center has been patched so long and neglected until it can no longer be patched. The gym roof is about to fall in, and the gym is closed. And I think Jimmy may be on tonight to share more about that if he chooses to. But we're looking for ways and means to get a new roof on the gym. And right now, there's a bid for $1.3 million. So the patching days are over. It is now time for action. If Jimmy is not on, and I don't see his name there, but Jimmy's father passed away, and if it's not on, he's in Joliet, Illinois, with his family. And our thoughts and our prayers go with him and the family in the loss of his father. And when the time comes, he will give you more update on that. I'm happy to report that we have received this American Rescue Plan money, and it was I'm looking for the email. It was 1,048,982, and that was one half of the money that will be coming into Bell Fountain Neighbors. And that money is sorely needed. We have all of the complaints about trees, grass, and what have you, but we can only hire a limited amount of employees to stay up on that. And so we're asking neighbors to help around your own place in terms of picking up trash. I do it, you'll have to do it, and things that you can't handle, then we'll try and get the city workers to do that. I hope that as we move forward, that we will be able to do some wonderful things in this city, attract more businesses that are sorely needed for us to move Bell Fountain Neighbors into the further into the 21st century. And I'm praying that the board and myself can work together for the good of the people in this city. One of the things that I want to share, and I hope it's taken in the proper perspective, is that when the board meetings don't have a quorum due to lack of attendance by board members, it directly affects the livelihood of hardworking city employees as it relates to pay ordinance that need a quorum to approve. And more, this city needs more employees to keep up with the demand from our citizens. So I'm asking that we all can come together and work it together like brothers and sisters and neighbors and friends. We don't have to agree with each other, but we ought to be able to live together and for the good of Bell Fountain Neighbors and for the good of each other. You look better when you smile. You feel better when you're smiling and talking with your neighbors. So thank you for the opportunity to serve these 2 years, and we look better to moving this city to the next level. We have offered covert shots in the city, and we hope to do more in the future. At this point, that at 1820 Chambers at the Greater St. Mark Family Church, you can go there Monday through Thursday, 11 to 7, and receive your covert shot. No appointments necessary. I hope that we'll take advantage of it wherever we can get it. And that's all I have to say at this time.
Thank you, Mayor, for that valuable information. We will now go to the reports from our appointed officials. We'll begin with our city treasurer, Patrick Howard. Um,
Oh, can you see
there
me?
you are. Yes.
Good evening, everyone. So, in reporting what we currently have under management as of August 2021, the city has a total of $4.7 million of funds in the local investment banks administered by myself, the mayor. And just a breakdown, in the current report, I provided a breakdown for each individual funds, just so that everyone will be able to see the differences over the course of July and August. One of the biggest differences, if you have the report, you would see that we're currently sitting at $1.8 million in the general fund. That's directly related to what the mayor mentioned earlier as it relates to the city receiving the Rescue Act funds on August the 27th. He mentioned the amount, the 1 million amount. In addition to that, the city currently holds $1.4 million in capital improvement funds. For sewer funds, there is 400,000. For the debt service fund, there's 80,000. And if you look at the previous month compared to the current month, you would notice that there was a payment, an interest payment. The first interest payment of the fiscal year was made on the last day of August. And that payment was due on the 1st of September. It was paid on the last day of August. So that will be the difference that you'd see in the change in the balance. For the street bond fund, we currently have $934,000. I was actually speaking with some of the bond representatives just to get some guidance on how those funds can be used and what the parameters are for the specific projects, so that the city can make sure that we're aware of the usefulness of these resources for the many things that need to be done throughout the city. In addition to that, the annual audit will be coming up very soon. Also, there is, I'm having discussions with the auditors because we will also be providing tax rates. Tax rates are also due the 1st of October. So we're currently in discussions with the audit company and waiting on the documentation to be processed so that that can be documented, completed, and turned into St. Louis County. So I'm expecting to have that in the next week or so. With that being the case, that will conclude my report.
Thank you, Treasurer Howard. We'll proceed with our next report, which is from City Collector Jeff Howe. Jeff just recently joined the city, and we're very pleased to have him with us. Is he on the line, however? Yes.
Yes, I'm here. We've got some liquor licenses we're trying to address currently. That's about all I can say about that right now. And that would complete my report.
Thank you, Collector Howe. Our last report from our appointed officials is from City Engineer Clayton Klein. Hi, Clayton.
Hi, how are you? Good evening, everybody. Good to see everybody, as Mayor Pearson has said. I work with Joe Rabin and Judy Mantich in the building department. I review plans that are brought forth to review to make sure that they meet code, and also review how the aesthetics work. I also receive drawings from different utility companies, MSD, Gas, Leclerc Gas, and Ameren, to where they're going to be doing stuff on our streets, and I review that. And I work with Jeff also in the street department just to make sure things are coordinated, so he knows when stuff is being done. Other than that, there's a lot of exciting things that I think that can be happening down the road. And as the mayor has said, with the work that's being done up on 270, and then even some of the stuff that the St. Louis Zoo is doing nearby, I think that's all, it doesn't happen overnight, but it's going to start happening. And I think we got a good group of people listening here tonight, and it starts with us, and we just got to start leading by example, not arguing with each other, but just chip in and work together, and it'll get there. Thank you.
Thank you, Clayton. Very much appreciated. We'll go down the line then to our city departments. And first we have Chief Jeremy Eiler, who leads the Bellefontaine Neighbors Police Department.
Thank you. Tonight, I'm just going to start off with a crime comparison for everybody. Every year I take September to August, and I compare it to the previous period from September to August to kind of give a clear picture of every time we meet for a town hall meeting, what's going on between those 2 years and how those 2 years reflect each other. Some noticeable differences for this past 12 months. Homicide has been down 50%. Rape has been down 75%. Now, when I say that, we've had one rape this last 12 months, and we've had 4 the previous 12. So don't let that percentage alarm you. Assaults are a big concern of mine. Assaultive behavior, I've talked about this before. In the last 12 months, it is 44% up from the previous 12 months. The previous period, we had 153 reported assaults compared to this period where we've had 274. Other good news, burglary is down by 31%, and so is larceny and motor vehicle theft as well. Calls for services last 12 months have increased by 9%. Accident reports increased by 16% overall. They're broken down to different categories, which the lion's share of our accident reports are taken on state highway and municipal roadways, 23% and 33% respectively. We've made attempts, especially about last 8 months, especially since the beginning of the year, to make a better effort in reaching our at-risk motorists. We have increased that effort by 14%, 40% more moving violations have been addressed in the previous year. And we have increased our actions on those motorist contacts. And I do want to say that from year to year, there seems to be a trend. It's not equal, mind you, but it hovers around almost 50-50 between when people talk about citations and warnings. I really push the value of assessing a traffic stop on the merits of that traffic stop. And so the outcome is based on that. As for ordinance violations, the police department has increased efforts by 33% since the previous 12 months. A lot of that is attributed to tackling abandoned and derelict vehicles within the city. We've increased that by 44%. As for the patrol division, we've been trying to we've been trying to increase our visibility, be higher. I've changed the decals on the sides of the cars. They say police really, really big. You can see it from the moon. I want them to be seen, and I want them to be seen active. They've also been assigned stationary patrol points. It's about 12 points throughout the city, which are high visibility points. And there are also points where they're good deterrents for crime to occur. Those are places for the police officers to stop and make phone calls, write reports on their current computers, and so forth. Our body worn camera project has been very, very successful in the last 12 months. It has really held not only the police officers, but the public really accountable for their behavior. In these upcoming 3 to 4 months, we will be installing a new set of car cameras in our patrol fleet, which will further help document and provide evidence for the things that we do. I just wanted to touch on the COVID and the Delta variant and just a few percentages to see kind of where we sit as a county. Right now, the state of Missouri, the United States is reported as being 55% vaccinated. Missouri's reported at being 47%. St. Louis County is reported being at 56%. However, the 63137 zip code, the one that we all live in and work in, is still at one of the highest risks for contracting these problems. Some of it has to do for vaccination is the decision whether to get the vaccine or not to get the vaccine. Wearing masks. I know all these things are still limiting us in certain ways. As for the police department, it is limiting some of our community policing events. For example, this year we'll be holding another Halloween drive-through event on Sunday, October 31st from 6 to 8 in the evening. It's safe. Everybody enjoyed it last year. There was a great turnout, and we're hoping there's even a greater turnout this year. COVID and the Delta variant have still had some limitations on the availability of police training. However, with that said, we have still maintained compliance with the Department of Public Safety's peace officer standards training, continuing education. So their requirements are 2 hours of legal, 2 hours of technical, 2 hours of interpersonal, 2 hours of firearms, 16 hours of electives that would include anti-bias training, de-escalation training, emergency driving training, and 1 hour racial profiling. However, we still exceed the state standards, and we will always exceed the state standards, except for they don't reach my standard, the standard that we were before the pandemic came in. Hopefully we will reach back to our normal training regiment someday when this all comes down. Currently, we are hiring a records attendant, and we are still hiring for police officers. So if you know anyone that you would want policing our community, I ask you to reach out to me or have them reach out to me. I'd like to have a conversation with them because we're always looking for police officers, good police officers, and we're also looking for diversity in our police department. We've increased our community outreach budget this year to make an investment in employment recruiting materials. Reasons are that number one, the 2021 St. Louis Regional Police Salary Survey has placed us below the median. So the last time our salary had changed was in 2018 with Prop T. That was about 3 years ago. So with that said, it's making it more difficult and harder to compete in this arena to find police officers to work here. Second, and this affects everybody, no matter what police department it is in the region, academy enrollment is what I would consider at an all-time low. Eastern Missouri graduated, I believe, 8 to 10 recruits, where normally there would be 25 to 30. St. Louis County Academy is having a similar problem. So with less police officers going through the academy, it makes competition that much more stiff. That's why we're investing in recruiting materials to better attract people for employment here. Other than that, I look forward to working with everybody as I normally do this upcoming year. If anybody needs anything, please call my office. We will help you the best we can.
Thank you, Chief Eiler. You imparted a lot of information, and I neglected to mention that you will have an opportunity to ask questions at the end of our agenda. We wanted to get through the agenda first, and then we'll open it up so that you can ask questions of anyone you'd like. Let's proceed with our next report from our building department head, Joe Raven. Hey, Joe.
Good evening, everybody. Hope we're having a nice night this evening. As far as the building department goes, if you're not familiar with us at the building department, my name is Joe Raven. I'm the building inspector. We do have Judy Mantic, which is our main office coordinator there for the building department. The two of us are who you need to contact if you have any questions or concerns or problems and things. If you're planning on any projects in the near future, or if you have questions on permits and what might be required for those projects, we're here to help for any of those kind of questions. As far as other things we do, we also provide services for the sewer lateral program here in the city. It's a very excellent program that we do to help repair any issues with sewer laterals at any of our residences. So if you're having any issues with that regard, please contact the building department as well. We might be able to help. It's coming up on fall time here. We're going to have issues with leaves and dead trees again. We're trying to cover the city and address many of those issues. So help from the community be appreciated with helping removal of any dead trees and leaves this year. We get lots of complaints on those issues every year. Also, tall grass has been an issue this year. We've been trying to address that as well. We've not gotten as much compliance as we have in the past. So we ask the community to step up and help us out with a little more of that. If you're experiencing problems with that in your area, please let us know. We try to check everybody, but sometimes things go unnoticed or backyards don't get mowed when front yards do. Please let us know of any of those kind of concerns that you're seeing. As far as everything else, if you have any other questions or complaints, feel free to contact the building department. It's helpful to have address numbers when you do call so we can help address particular things and also clarify that we've already addressed some or not. But feel free to contact the building department with any issues that you're seeing in your neighborhood. That's about all I have tonight.
Thank you, Joe. As the mayor indicated, Jimmy Kurinchek had a death in the family, and our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family. We'll move on to the street department.
He's on. Jimmy is on.
Oh.
Yes, I'm going to join in for tonight and just give an update while I can. So,
well, good evening.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you. Sorry about your loss.
I appreciate it. My name is Jimmy Krenchik. I'm the Parks and Recreation Director. I started back in January of this year. And so I oversee the 8 parks in the city. We have an outdoor pool, 18-hole mini golf course, a recreation center. And out of the rec center, we do have an indoor pool, as well as run various swimming programs, water exercise, fitness classes, and then we have a weight room in there. We do rentals, and all of the parks are in St. Cyr, Bissell, and Tanglewood. And then as well, we have 2 meeting rooms that we rent out to the public. Some exciting things that happened this year so far is we were awarded the trim grant. That was $18,500 from the Missouri Department of Conservation. So this grant will help us remove critical risk trees in our city parks. We currently sent out the bid form to 5 different companies. On Monday, September 13th at 1 o'clock, we held a bid opening. Gamma Tree Service and Davies Tree Service were the only ones to submit a proposal for that I'll provide those numbers to the board at the next meeting with my recommendation and how we move forward with those proposals. This work is scheduled to be completed between November and March while our parks are closed. The outdoor pool, we had another, I would call a successful year this year at the outdoor pool after our major renovations that happened. Currently is closed for the season. We will operate that Memorial Day through Labor Day. If you haven't been out there, it's on the backside of the Recreation Center. Come check it out next summer. We got a few new changes that are happening, and we'd love to see everybody out there. The lifeguards were audited twice this year by StarGuard, our lifeguard certification company. I'm proud to announce they received their first ever 5-star grade on both audits. So that's 1 through 5 star, and this is the first year they've received their first 5-star audits. So congratulations to them. They work hard every day at in-service and showing up and doing an excellent job. We had the indoor pool shut down that we do annually. The park maintenance staff painted the whole interior of the pool shell and as well as the deck and cleaned that up in the locker rooms. Our major concern right now in the rec center though is the gym roof renovation. So that park grant application was submitted for the gym trusses. We should know if we were awarded that money by middle of October to November timeframe. We are currently in the process of creating a bid form for the structural engineer portion of that renovation. And as well as the grass is just in the parks this year has been growing like crazy. Our park maintenance guys have been doing a diligent job to stay on top of that. This fall, we plan on going to each park and making it, cleaning up a lot of the overgrown areas that we've seen and trimming some of the trees back just to make our parks a lot more presentable and look like they're well maintained. If anyone has any questions, I'm going to leave my email in the chat. Feel free to send me an email, but I'm going to log off for the rest of the night. And thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. You have a good evening. We'll proceed with our next report. It's from our street department head, Jeff Ross.
Hello, everyone. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Just a little introduction about the street department. Currently working with a small crew of 5. We in the street department maintain approximately 52 miles of streets within the city of Bellefontaine Neighbors, which consist of pothole patching, asphalt, concrete repair and replacement, snow and ice management, sign repair and replacement, along with maintaining all city vehicles and equipment. We also handle residential easement trees and offer storm damage pickup. All of this can be found on the city website. There are also some helpful numbers listed for any questions or concerns. You can also call City Hall or myself directly, and I'd be happy to help any way I can. To let the public know some of the things we have accomplished in the past year, we have replaced 96 street signs. We have deadwooded approximately 63 easement trees, taken down 11 trees, contracted removal of 8 trees as well. Removed stumps, also asphalt repair with Lair, Shepley, Fox Path, Fox Lair, Blackhurst, Haviland, and Gardo. We also have swept the streets of the entire city, and we do that both in fall and the spring. Numerous times we have been out recently picking up storm damage. We worked together with the Parks Department to get them up and running with the golf course after being closed for a year. We've also taken on the task of helping out with cutting of vacant properties. Looking into next year, we will continue to do these duties. We will be purchasing a new truck as our fleet is getting aged and repairs becoming more frequent on our older vehicles. Funds have been set aside in the budget to replace all the Welcome to Bellefontaine Neighbor signs located at different entrances into the city. We want the community looking good and residents to feel happy about and proud of where they live. I have a plan to work with the Parks Department or to develop a new use for Pruitt Park and Lilac. We'd like to convert that to an area to provide free firewood and mulch for city residents free of cost. And that's about it. It's my report.
Thank you, Jeff. Much appreciated. We'll move on to our next report, which is from Image and Beautification, Jenny Stewart.
She is not present at this time.
All right, thank you, Judy. Then that completes the reports under our department heads. We have a number of special guests that we have invited this evening. And I'm sure you're going to gain some valuable information and insight from these guests. First on our agenda, we have the Honorable Chief Keith Goldstein. Is Chief Goldstein with us? I don't see his name or hear anything, so we will move right along then to our next special invited guest. The Honorable Rita Hurd Days. Is Councilwoman Days with us? I don't hear or see her name here. The next person on our agenda is County Councilwoman Shalonda Webb. Is Councilwoman Webb with us? Yes, she is. Councilwoman Webb was elected councilwoman for the 4th Council District on November 3rd, 2020, and she began serving in January of 2021. We congratulate and welcome you, Councilwoman Webb.
Good evening. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. So as you can see from the background that I'm traveling from one meeting.
I think we lost her. Well, she will probably join us again in a minute.
I'm here, ma'am. I'm had to switch devices because my phone went dead. So I'm on the legislative assistance phone, Shantae Horman.
Great.
So I just want to say thank you for this opportunity to join. I've been very interested in hear all the wonderful things that's happening in Bell Fountain from the different departments. It is an honor for me to serve as a servant leader in our district and working on behalf of not just Bell Fountain, but all of North County to make sure that we give a level of excellence to all of our community members. So thank you so much for including me in your meeting today. It has been a pleasure for me to join you all. And once again, I do apologize because of my background. I'm traveling from one meeting to the next.
Well, thank you, Councilwoman Webb. We appreciate your joining us for the period that you did and look forward to working with you.
The same here, ma'am. I look forward and everyone, I must say this, everyone at Bell Fountain, Mayor Pearson, Alderwoman Dales, Elise is what I say, but I just they've always been very supportive, whether it was the cleanup that we were doing in the community or coming out to support the new fire department, the new building for the fire department, and even the bridge opening ceremony. So everyone has been very, very helpful to me, and also being available to be collaborative. And I'm studying a little bit because I must say it's so important as local elected officials that we work together and put our communities first. And so with that, I am grateful for the partnership with Mayor Pearson, Alderwoman Dales, and all of the leadership at Bell Fountain. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Councilwoman Webb. You have a good evening. Glad you could join us. The next speaker on our agenda is the Honorable Angela Walton Mosley. Is she with us this evening? Perhaps she'll join us later. We'll proceed then to our next special invited guest. We have the Honorable Marlene Terry. And I
She's
did
here.
see her name.
She's here.
There she is. Good evening, Representative Terry. Representative Marlene Terry represents St. Louis County District 66 in the Missouri House of Representatives, which includes Spanish Lake, Bell Fountain Neighbors, Jennings, and St. Louis City. She was elected to her first two-term in November 2020. She has served also on the Riverview Garden School District Board for over 9 years. We congratulate and welcome you, Representative Terry.
Well, thank you. And thank you so much for the invite. You know, I've been sitting here listening and I had to change my perspective in many ways because I am also a resident of Bell Fountain Neighbors. Actually, a very proud resident of Bell Fountain Neighbors for over 30-something years. So I'm going to start with this. I listen to a lot of things about togetherness and let's come together because I'm a resident. I'm speaking not only as a resident, but as your 66th district representative as well, but mostly right now as a resident of Bell Fountain Neighbors. I listened to the chief when he said about all the statistics that were down: homicide, burglaries, and rape. But my concern, Chief, right now is speeding in our communities. And those are some of the complaints that I get from a lot of the individuals in the community, and not only Bell Fountain Neighbors, but the city of St. Louis, Spanish Lake, everywhere around this town of St. Louis. And we have to do something about that. And I remember when it was a time when I moved in Bell Fountain Neighbors that individuals were afraid to come in Bell Fountain Neighbors and speed, because they were aware of the consequences. So maybe we need to sit down at the table and think about what's going to happen if you come speeding in our neighborhood where children can't even come outside and play anymore in their front yards. I keep my grandkids in the backyard and still afraid when they're outside. And there are a lot of people that's complaining about speeding. I'm hearing complaints about trash, you know, but the individual they gave from the street department said they have swept the neighborhoods, the entire city of Bell Fountain Neighbors. Well, you missed St. Cyr and Atler, where I live. I haven't seen a sweeping machine in a long, long time. You know, we're talking about licenses, liquor license, and people not getting what they need from here in Bell Fountain Neighbors. Well, that brings me to this. We're talking about togetherness as well. When I got elected, I reached out to not only the officials in Bell Fountain Neighbors, but all the surrounding officials and even the officials that are affiliated and associated with this district. Not a response. I finally did sit down with Mayor Pearson. And I want to be able to work with Mayor Pearson to make this a better place to live for all of us. Because if we don't work together, we're not going to get nothing accomplished. We're the minority when it comes to the state of Missouri. And so if we all don't come together, regardless of what your differences are, we're not going to get nothing done. One person can't do anything, but as a group, we can do a lot. I don't know what the conflict is, why I can't get a phone call. I've called the chief of police. I've called the mayors of every community around me. I've called out to the county council, my own county council people. And we can have a meeting to figure out what we can do for our community. That saddens me. It saddens me. I've been living in this community for years. And I apologize. I wasn't expecting to go here, but I'm listening to these reports. Not going to do any good if we don't come together. People can't get liquor license if y'all can't meet, I can't get my street swept if I can't call up to City Hall and get something done. Trash is all over the place. I wrote a letter because when my constituents contact me, I take that very personal. It was about someone that owns a business in our community. I'm not gonna call no names because this is many of businesses that this affect. But I put this in my newsletter, and I challenge each and every one of you on this feed tonight to get on my newsletter. This letter was about the trash in the neighborhoods and businesses. And I came up with my own thing and I labeled it. I called it Clean Your Own Incentive. And ironically, today, I saw on the news where the city folks with Better Family Life and the Urban League and the city came up with something similar, but I wrote this letter a week or two ago. And the letter reads as this. I don't mean to take up a lot of your time, but this is important to me because you all are important to me. Everyone enjoys a prestige neighborhood characterized by litter, free lawn, parks, and green spaces without trash and debris, or just simply public walkways and sidewalks without the distraction of discarded waste. I ask that you please join the 66 district community leaders and the local business owners as we superhead the Clean Your Own Incentive. I was asking our business owners to make gloves and trash bags available to their employees to make cleaning in these high traffic areas more accessible. We're asking our homeowners to clear out litter from a section of a sidewalk or a park near their property. We hope that families will get involved and just start with cleaning the areas near their homes where trash and debris is in plain view. As your state representative, I need a few of you to take a few digital photos of what you've cleaned up to beautify your community. If you have a school-aged children in your family, please have them write and send me a short essay to my office about their experience, along with their favorite before and after photo of a beautiful public space. Start today. Clean your own. And this was signed not only by me, but your senator and other representatives from other districts. Because if we don't clean our own community and act like we care, why should anybody else? I clean outside my house every day. Someone asked me what was the incentive. The incentive is that we have a beautiful place to live. That's the incentive. Now, I did ask the children to take photos because we need to encourage our children. People throw trash out the window and they're driving up and down the street like they don't care. And we need to tell our children, get them involved. They send me a photo, I'll have some for them, because we have to encourage our children. We have to uplift them and make it a better place to live. And if we want to get something done as elected officials, whatever the problem is with whomever, it ain't about you. We took an oath to serve the community, so we need to start doing that. I'm getting phone calls about all different things from local government. And I'm working on all kind of other things that affects the whole state of Missouri and everywhere around this world. But I love where I live. You guys come first. And I'm just asking, why can't we get along? For the people's sake. Why is it that I'm hearing these things about ordinances and violations of derelict cars when people call about grass cutting and trees up to the people's houses and ain't nothing being done. Ask yourself why. Why we can't get nothing done in my community. I moved here because I wanted my family to have a place to live with a backyard and a picket fence and all that. And I still do, and it's capable. There's a lot of things going on that we can do, but we got to do that together. I had a fair. We need a grocery store in this community. I had an affair for fresh produce. I invited every elected official from the city to the county. Not too many people came from Bell Fountain neighbors, a few from Spanish Lake, Jenny's, which was great. But it was about us moving forward for the elderly and having fresh produce and an environment where we can not live outside our community. Not leave outside our community and invest. We have a lot of entrepreneurs, but instead we want to have the same similar things that's going on when we all could have came together, and the population and all the entrepreneurs that's available and everything that's going on in Bell Fountain neighbors could have been shown to the people in the community. We got to do better. We got to do better. We're in a crisis. This world is in a crisis. We're in a pandemic. People are hurting. People are dying. I'm begging you, please, let's work together. You might not like me, but I love you. I love you. I love this community. I love it so much that in spite of, I'm willing to work with you to make it a better place. A better place. Our schools need our attention. Our community need our attention. Crime needs our attention. Speeding, how many people have died on 367? When I got in office, I asked about Lucas and Hunt, MoDOT, St. Louis County, and they came out. Lucas and Hunt is being fixed. MoDOT is fixing our street. We have passed bills to fix our roads and streets. So let me lead with this. We have a tax bill, Senate Bill number 262, which is a gas tax increase of 12.5 cents. And so for over the next 5 years, 2.5% per year will be going forward. Starting in October, I need you guys to know that you need to keep your gas receipts, and that can apply to a refund with the Department of Revenue. And if you file a claim on or after July 1st through the 30th of September 30th during the fiscal year after exemption, the refund is claimed, you can get 100% of your tax back. So starting October 1st, save your gas receipts. We needed that. Our roads and bridges need fixing, but we don't need you speeding up and down the roads and bridges as we fix them. We need to save lives. We need to come together to do this. We're hearing a lot about vaccine and mandate, OSHA vaccination and testing guidelines. So those who do not get vaccinated, you do not have to get vaccinated. But those that work in a workplace You just have to submit weekly to testing to ensure that you do not risk others and spreading a deadly disease to your coworkers. This is in the best interest of the employers, employees, and the customers that you serve. You know, legal precedents defends that the state of Missouri goes back to many years, centuries, that you cannot make an individual take a vaccination. But we're in a pandemic. You know, I'm up there in Jefferson City and fighting with the Republicans about this issue. It's about protecting workers. I trust OSHA to secure that the safety of workers in hazardous fields every day. Unfortunately, COVID has made it that it's inherited and potentially lethal risks at most job sites. Don't you think that employees have the right to know that their workforce is at risk or shutting down because someone chose not to vaccinate, and employees have a right to work in a safe place? Do you think that? I do. You know, I was in a veto session yesterday. I just came back from Jefferson City last night. The Republicans sustained Governor Mike Parson's veto on 2 budget items. This veto will hurt disabled communities that depend on compassionate helpers. When we fail to properly compensate those who work to help the lives of disabled Missourians, we fail disabled Missourians. This is a betrayal of a long-term care workers. It is petty. It is pretty low to promise low-paid workers who desperately need them, and then yank the money back. You know, this was already okayed and budgeted, and he wanted to yank it back. Republicans also sustained Governor Mike Parson's veto on a budget line item, giving $1 million to the Missouri RX plan. Sustaining the veto would hurt this. Sustaining this veto would hurt low-income seniors trying to pay for medication. We had a chance to fund it fully next year, but we shouldn't continue putting off necessary services to help people in this state who cannot necessarily help themselves. The House overrode 4 of the governor's vetoes, but Senate Republicans' melodrama prevented these passes in the upper chambers, even on items that started the day waiting to override. Republicans have offered this state nothing but extremist ideas, ego-driven, dysfunctional government Missouri, and as Missourians, we deserve better. The things that were override from the House are the following. House Bill 4, allotting $150,000 for tax refund for certain businesses. House Bill 11, which provides 3% raises for children division workers, an amount that totaled over $2 million. House Bill 12, $300 million to fund a Lincoln County program that focuses on crime against children. House Bill 19, providing $700 million and stabilizing funds for community improving districts in Columbia. He was only overridden in several bills. But what I witnessed yesterday was they don't care about us. They don't care about poor. They don't care about disabled. They don't care about low income. They don't care about anything pertaining to us. It saddens me. That's why I encourage you that we, as community and community leaders, band together to work on behalf of our community and their needs, things that we can do locally to help in this pandemic. Because not only is it a virus, to me, it's a war on us, period. I'm sorry, and I apologize if I offended anyone. That was not my cause. My cause is for us to come together. You know, we fought heavy for Medicare expansion. We had to go to court and waste taxpayer dollars for something that was a constitutional right. And another thing I want to let you all know, you have a voice. I need to hear from you. One thing about it, there are voices that are being heard, but it's not from where I need to hear from. So let me hear from you. My door is open. The website, when you get on the website, you can listen to what's going on in Jefferson City. You can talk about how you don't like what's going on in Jefferson City and voice your opinion. That's what I need from you. Put it in writing. Make your voices heard. I can't do this by myself. I love Bell Fountain neighbors. I love y'all. Mayor Pearson, I love you. Let's get it together. Please. I would like to meet with you, the chief of police, and your alder people. I'm saying that in front of the community. Please, all of you, every one of you, my county council women as well. I want to meet with you. Let's all meet together and figure out how we can fix this for our communities, Spanish Lake, Bell Fountain neighbors, and whatever you govern over. I'm going to exit. And again, I want to thank you because I get emotional about what I do. I really do. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Representative Terry. You provided so much information. I hope you can stay for the question and answer session, which is next on the agenda.
I'll cut off my video. I'll try, but I just really want you all to know how much I appreciate you, and I'm here for you. I'm here for you. We got to get it together.
Thank you. The next speaker on our agenda is the Director of Policy for St. Louis County, the Honorable Cora Faith Walker. Was she able to join us this evening? It does not appear that she is with us, and the mayor announced earlier that St. Louis County Prosecutor Wesley Bell is out of town. So that actually completes our special invited guest, unless someone is on who came in late. If not, I'd like to thank all of our special invited guests for bringing their expertise and making this a fruitful, constructive town hall. I will turn the floor over now to Mayor Pearson to handle the question and answer session. Mayor Pearson?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. We will now have a question and answer period, which the meeting is open to the public. Anyone
I
from,
raised my hand, Mayor,
oh, all right, we'll go right ahead. Thank you.
trying to follow rules.
No,
This is Marcy Good and Dinky Drive. Comment. Thank you, Chief, for your report as always. Representative Terry, thank you for your updates and your enthused commentary around trash. You may have seen me put a note in the IM. Me and my neighbor walk every morning and we clean up as we go. And we're coming from Dinky to Bell Fountain. We stop and give the firemen a couple of trash bags. They give us water. We walk down Bell Fountain, up St. Cyr, past the school, past your street, Wardorf and back home. So we understand what you mean about trash. We get about 10 bags as we walk. So we're doing our part, and it's not for an incentive, but to help our neighborhood stay beautified. The only other comment, I wish we would have had someone from the school district. I think I've mentioned that before. Even though we're a part of the school district, I think it's very important as taxpayers and as citizens that we make sure that we have someone on from the school district. That's my comment, and thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Wallace. Ms. Leslie Wallace, you're muted if you're trying to speak. Ms. Wallace, your hand is up. And Marcy, would you put, I'm sorry, you already did. I was gonna tell you, put your hand down, but you beat me to the punch. Anyone else? All righty, then we're going to
I'm sorry, I have my hand up. Everisha Perry.
okay, go ahead. I don't see it, but go ahead.
Okay, I know since February of this year, I've inquired about the fencing along the cemetery. And I've heard in different meetings, there was concern it wasn't in Bell Fountain neighbors. And I also indicated, based on me looking at the map, that it is. And the fencing is getting worse. The weeds around the cemetery. This is the cemetery at Jennings and Bell Fountain. The weeds around the cemetery are getting higher. And I need to know what needs to be done in order to get them to clean that up. It looks very bad coming into or leaving Bell Fountain neighbors.
Joe, can you discuss this?
Yes, I wanted to let everybody know about that. The cemetery has had several car accidents on that corner of what is that, Jennings Station and Bell Fountain there. They've had that fence ran into 4 or 5 times in the last year. The owner and maintainer of the cemetery has said that they're going to plan to take down the fence. They do not plan to maintain it any longer. They can't seem to keep it up. So the process is to take that fence down and to maintain that area and hopefully clean up all the growth that has also happened along that fence line. But that's what we have been in conversation with the owner about.
All righty, thank you.
Pastor DC Elliott.
Thank you, Mayor. 1137 Jolene Drive. I just wanted to make a comment. Bell Fountain, as a city, is fortunate to have chaplains to serve the police and fire department. And I'm not sure that the community knows about that. But due to a lot of COVID restrictions, we haven't had the opportunity to be as visible. But we just want to let the community know that we're out here to serve them, to serve the police and the fire department, and to be a liaison for community needs. So feel free to reach out to City Hall. You can leave a message for the chaplains there. We can reach back out to you to give you support. And we're still looking forward to supporting the police and fire department and EMS in any way possible.
All right. Any other comments or questions from the community?
Yes.
Bradley, I'm
Yes.
sorry. Go ahead.
Information.
Mhm. Go right ahead.
Okay. I'm gonna throw you back a couple steps. Frieden, I don't know who was speaking about the conditions of Frieden's cemetery. And she was talking about Bell Fountain and Jennings and Joseph, something about there's accidents there. Well, I want to know what the excuse of them is for the back of the yards on Donnell Avenue. We don't have any accidents going through our yard into that fence. I don't want them to take it down. I want them to clean it up. So that's on you. I think I emailed you about it.
I have spoke with the maintainer of Mr. Work of that. He says that they are trying to maintain that back edge, the west side of the fence lines. Those fence lines will remain. They have an excessive amount of it going on. They've been extremely busy and backed up. They don't have a lot of staff as well. So that was his what he was trying to convey to me, is they were trying to find the manpower and time to do that. They've been very, very busy. He is aware of it, and they said that they will come do that, but I have not known that they have done it yet. And we're still pursuing
they
it.
have not. I can tell you that myself. I can look back my back door and look at it. They haven't done a thing.
Yeah. And we are still pursuing that. We've talked with them about that. They are aware of it, and they hope to get to that this fall. They so hope that burials will slow down by that point, and they've been busy with that portion right now.
I sure in the heck wouldn't put anybody I know back there. It's a mess.
All right, thank you. Ms. Bradley.
Hello.
Hello.
I guess my pet peeve is not, it's just a pet peeve of mine, because if there's two houses on Shepley that continuously, when they cut their grass, they blow it in the street, and at the fall, when they rake their leaves, they rake them in the street. I know there's an ordinance against that. It has to be.
Yes, there is.
So what's, and that's just a pet peeve of mine. I mean, it looks bad. The leaves are blowing everywhere. It's just a pet peeve of mine. And I know there's an ordinance, but it seems like they are constantly doing it.
And that is actually a detriment to the infrastructure. We don't want those items going down the sewers and causing issues. So if you do see that, please let us know. We will come by and let them know that not to do that.
I most certainly will.
Thank you, Alderwoman Elliott.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. It's a question for the chief, so he can answer on behalf of the citizen inquiry. One of them are, there's always conversations about the barriers in Ward 4. And I made a statement about the length of time those barriers are to be up by ordinance. Could you please share the specifics on the length of time those barriers should be up based on the ordinance?
Yes, not a problem. The length of time based on the ordinance is temporarily. Temporarily is defined as long as the barrier is serving its purpose, it remains. Once it does not serve a purpose anymore, it gets removed. So temporary could be 6 months, it could be a year, it could be 3 years. There is no defined language for the word temporarily anywhere in that section of the code or anywhere in that chapter of the code.
Okay, so there is nothing that specifies a year or anything like that as far as a year?
No.
Okay.
So Chief, can I ask you a follow-up question on that? So what needs to happen to make sure there is current language since it is so vague? What if the residents over there never wants them removed? Who has the authority to make that determination around the time length?
Well, if you're talking about time length and the ordinance itself, it would be incumbent upon the legislators of the city to change the ordinance, which that's their right to do.
So right now with the language saying temporary, who decides what temporary is? Is that the alder people or that sits with the police chief?
By my own personal opinion, because I haven't been told otherwise, according to the ordinance, I have the ability to close streets based on public emergencies. Public emergencies aren't defined either. So I weigh and balance that as well. So when you're talking about the length of time they stay there, technically it would probably fall within my boundaries.
Okay.
Okay, and the next question that the citizens inquire about is for the treasurer and the mayor as far as how the first sum of COVID money has been allocated to impact the community. Because the last statements were that it was being held in case the North County took it back, but what's the status of them actually being used for the community?
Patrick, are you on?
Yes, I'm here.
You want to address that?
So the status of the usefulness of the funds was that in anticipation of receiving those funds, the city included with conversations with department heads, an estimate of budget expenditures for those items. There wasn't a separate budget created for that, for the allocation of those funds specifically. However, it was included in the entire budget to be allocated for general fund related activities and or capital improvement activities, such as some of the things that were mentioned by the rec center department head.
So some mayors may have shared that they use their monies for citizens specifically. Was that an allowable expense to provide any personal assistance for citizens? Like if they needed rent assistance or anything, was it restricted to just city expenses or could it have been allocated to support residents?
I can't speak directly to how anyone else determined how they wanted to allocate the funds. I know specifically in finance conversations, the decision was made to use it specifically related to well-needed and in some cases past due expenditures that the city needed outside of directly giving those funds to citizens, more so related to improvement projects and sustainability.
But was it an allowable expense? Was it something that could have been used? Was there a restriction? I think is the clarifying question. Was there a restriction in using it for citizens' personal needs?
I think there would have needed to be a justifiable case and explanation for it, because those expenditures do need to be documented for its useful purpose. So I think that just to answer that question specifically, I think that there is a possibility, yes, that that they could be used in that manner. However, there are restrictions attached to those funds whereas you can't just, say, I want to do anything and just kind of come up with any number of projects. So I do think that there are parameters associated with it.
Okay, last question for you. When the auditors was here, I mentioned that their contract was expiring And since that time, there has not been an RFP to secure a new auditor. Will they be able to audit with I guess, expired contract?
So they are in the process of preparing a new contract because the company that we had the audit with previously was acquired, and there's a new company name. So they're in the process of preparing a new engagement letter to create the new contract for the audit services.
Okay, I think we still need to do a RFP for others as well. I think that concludes my my question. And I think that the citizens need clarification as far as attendance of aldermen. We as legislators are obligated to uphold and maintain ordinances and laws. And when there are violations amongst the elected officials, whether it's the alderpersons or the mayor, we're responsible for enforcement. And when there are non-compliance issues, then we have to make a conscious decision to do what's necessary to protect our legislative right to uphold the law. And that's where you see the concerns. And I believe, as I stated in the chat, that compliance of ordinances, with compliance of ordinances, all things are possible. And that's where we have not met in the middle on collaboration.
All right, anyone else?
Mayor, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Wanda Lane, Martindale Road. The rhetoric that citizens continue to hear as justification why elected officials have abandoned their oath of office to uphold the ordinances of our city is really past insulting. A legislator does not determine their individual rights or responsibility, or whatever term they choose to use, to determine whether or not they're going to represent the constituents who voted them into office. Period. If it is a legal matter, the legislator does not mete out the legal punishment, for lack of a better word. Those are judicial issues. There has been, in my opinion, from as far as I know, and maybe the city attorney can answer this specific question, there has been no response from the Attorney General's office regarding a meeting that was called less than 24 hours on August 12th, I think it was, 2020. Yet there is misinformation, disinformation, whatever wrong we want to say about activities that happened in that meeting that are claimed to have been legal. And unless the Attorney General has made a ruling on that meeting, that information that's on the World Wide Web is wrong. It is wrong. So I don't care how many people, elected officials, try to justify why they're not attending public meetings. This citizen, is not buying it. If that's the case, then, and you are so offended by whatever legislative ordinance is not being carried out to the T, and you are so offended by that, then you need to resign your position. At the very least, stop taking taxpayer dollars for this offense that you are participating in. I had an opportunity to present to the Board of Equalization why I felt like my property did not deserve to be increased by $1,300. And one of the main reasons I used was we have 4 elected officials, and I named the 4 elected officials by name who do not attend our city meetings. And I thought it was preposterous for me to have to pay additional real estate taxes when my city government is not being honored. We are not being honored by our city government, by individuals who think that they can make their own rules. Now, I don't care how many ways you cut it, how many times you go around the mulberry bush, whoever supports it, that's their right to do so. But I, as a citizen, do not support that. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Is there anyone else? Seeing no new hands up. Thank you all for your participation tonight. Thank you for being on. And we will call this meeting to adjourn at this time. All right. You may adjourn the meeting. There was no motion to start it, so we don't need a motion to end it. Judy?